Hi, it's me, Matt, the Homebrew Hero. We are going to be making an Imperial Saison. Hoping to hit about 8%, around 30-32 IBUs. We're going to use that French Saison yeast to give us some lime and lemon and tropical flavors. I'm trying to clone the beer called Tropic King by Funkwerks Brewery. They're located in Fort Collins, Colorado. It's one of my very favorite beers, and I'm very excited to make this one. This is going to be a big beer. It's going to be a delicious beer. If you want a more detailed experience on how to make beer, if you're starting for the first time, watch my video. Just click on this link down here, and that'll teach you how to do all that. Let's get started. Okay, so let me show you what we're working with today. We got 10 pounds pale malt, that's going to be our base malt, 2 pounds of this Munich 10, and that's going to give us some malty sweet flavor, kind of an orange color to our beer, a pound of white wheat. This is 8 ounces of carapils, which is going to add to our foam and head retention. It's going to add to the body of our beer. Don't usually need to use a lot of that. That's why we're only using 8 ounces. Our yeast we're using is the Y-yeast French Saison. It's going to give us some peppery notes. It's going to give us a lot of esters. It's going to give us a lot of aroma, citrus flavors. And what's going to enhance that is the hops we're using. The Tropic King, they actually use a hop called, I don't know how to pronounce it, Raku, R-A-K-A-U. This is the next best thing. It's not from New Zealand, it's from Australia. This Galaxy, it's high alpha, so we're gonna use an ounce at 60 minutes for the bitterness, and then we're gonna use half an ounce at 10 minutes to get some flavor and aroma, and then again at flame out we'll add another half ounce of it. Its aroma is full of passion fruit, citrus. It just smells wonderful, and I'd imagine it tastes wonderful too. This is going to give us some great flavors. As far as for our 7-day dry hop, we're going to use Matuga, I guess is how you say it. This is from New Zealand. It's similar to the Galaxy, less alpha, but it has strong lemon, lime, passion, tropic fruit type flavors that we're going to, and aroma that we're going to get out of this. So this is going to be a pretty amazing beer. And then I am adding just a little bit of sugar just to bring up our alcohol level. We're aiming for close to 8% on this. So let's get to work. Oh, and also remember, you'll want to do this at least 3 hours before. The Y-yeast one, they're almost like a mini starter where the nutrients is in there. You just gotta let the packet get down to the bottom corner and then you smack it. This bag of yeast over the next few hours is gonna start to inflate. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea if you're making this beer at home to do a starter. If you don't know how to make a starter, just click on the link on the bottom of the screen here, and that'll take you to my video that shows you how to make a yeast starter. Really simple. We're getting the strike water ready. We have 13.5 pounds of grain, so we're going to use 13.5 quarts into our strike water. There's one. Let's get this strike water going. Open. See if we can do this without blowing ourselves up. Woo! We're gonna bring this to around 170, 171. Target temperature 154 after we add it to the mash tun with the grains. So we'll get this baby heating up and then add it into our mash tun. Looks like we're just about there. Let's bring it on in. Pour our strike water in here. Let's give it a minute there to warm up the walls. Now on the white wheat, carapils. Pour the rest of this in there. 2 pounds of Munich. Man, that's a lot of grain. There we go, that's what it should look like after you get it all stirred up. So strap that lid on, take a temperature reading in a few minutes, just to make sure we're where we're supposed to be. Okay, it's just been 2-3 minutes. We're just gonna check, make sure we're at 154, or at least in that ballpark. Okay, we're good. So now it's time to mash. We're gonna let this sit for an hour and a half, so 90 minutes. It has been an hour and a half, so we're gonna get our sparging water ready. You need half a gallon for every pound of grain, but I'm just gonna fill this baby as full as I can fill it. And then we're gonna heat it up to 170 for our sparging temperature. Just stick that baby deep inside of there. That's what she said. Yeah, it looks like we kept a pretty good temperature. Okay, we got our sparge water heating up to 170. We're gonna drain just a little bit, probably half a gallon or so. We're gonna drain out of this just to clear up the beer. So let's get this going. Get a little stuck at first. Just drain it real slow. This is a really cheap way to do a mash tun too, but it works pretty good. If I had the money, I'd get a real nice one, but it's kind of fun when it's simple. Try roll. Super sweet. Our first quart. Just pour that gently, gently, gently. Now let's drain a little more. I want to clear this up. Test our temperature, see if we're there yet or close. Oh, yeah, it's there. Cool that baby down. Let's let it drain out just a little bit. Get a little lower, then we'll put some in. Okay, we drained just a bit of this out, so it's below the grain bed. Now we're going to do our first sparge. Water at 170. Pour it slowly. So I batch sparge. I just keep the water about an inch or so above the grain bed. And as soon as it drops below, do another sparge. So we are going to collect up to this line here. That's going to be 6.5 gallons. I usually go to this higher line if I'm doing a 90 minute. We're going to do 60 minutes today, and we should end up with 5 gallons by the time it's done fermenting and we've moved it to the bottling bucket. And here's a must right here. Make sure you have some beer to drink while you're doing this. It makes it a lot more enjoyable. You got to have one of these outside if you're a home brewer. You guys ever had this one, the New Belgium Rampant? It's an Imperial IPA. We got 6.5 gallons. Let's throw it in our pot and get it to a boil. Oh, that's heavy. It's a nice color. It's just the color we wanted. Lid on that baby for a little while. Look at that. We are there. So at 60 minutes, we're adding half an ounce of this Galaxy. That's 15% alpha acid. So we're gonna get the majority of our bitterness out of this. Now our next hop addition, we're not gonna add till 10 minutes. And the reason for that is because we wanna get as much flavor and aroma out of it as we can. Okay, so we got about 15 minutes left. We're gonna add in our 5.6 ounces of table sugar. Since we're using table sugar, it doesn't really matter where you put it when you put this in. You could put it in around even at the beginning of the boil if you wanted, because we're not really trying to get flavor out of it. We're just trying to up our alcohol percentage is all. Okay, 10 minutes left in our boil, so we're gonna add in a half ounce of that Galaxy. The reason we wait till 10 minutes is because we want to get as much flavor and aroma out of this as we can. Okay, we got 5 minutes in our boil left, so we're gonna add our whirl flock tablet. This is basically Irish moss and some other stuff that clears up your beer. You don't want to add it any sooner than 10 minutes at the most, but any more than that, then it's not going to do its job. Half a tablet per 5 gallons. We are at flame out, which means we're going to shut off the heat completely, and we're going to add in an entire ounce of the Galaxy. So we're not going to get any bitterness out of this. We're just going to get flavor and aroma. I'm going to let this sit for 10 minutes with no heat on. And then after that point, we're gonna cool it off. Okay, so it's been 10 minutes. I'm gonna pull the hot bags out of there. Okay, we about got this down where we want it. A good thing about cooling it in an ice bath is that by stirring it, you're gonna aerate the wort really well. If you're using a wort chiller, then you're gonna have to find another way to aerate your beer, probably by splashing it into the bucket as much as you can, or shaking the bucket after you poured it in there. Whatever you gotta do to get it aerated, just make sure you do, because the yeast is gonna need that oxygen. Okay, so make sure you shake your yeast up real well. Sanitize everything. Make it as splashy as you can so you can aerate that. Ooh. Use the hydrometer to get ourselves our original gravity. We'll have to wait a while for the foam to go down, but yeah, it's really hard to tell where it's at this point. Okay. So we're gonna let this ferment in a nice dark closet. After 2 weeks, I'm gonna add an ounce, my last ounce of hops, and we're gonna dry hop. And then a week later, we're gonna bottle it. Till next time, happy brewing.